way. But we all know, of course, the PR system, it has been passed and approved by the Supreme Court. But this live is going to be about Dr. Abdulai Conte in Sierra Leone. This is just off the cuff. And of course, as we go, it's going to, over the next few weeks and months, I'm definitely going to be drilling into the ruling of the Supreme Court until and after the elections. In as much as at the same time, we're going to create a pathway to, sensitize and educate our people about, the negative effects of the PR system as a whole, given how fragile our politics is in Sierra Leone. But like I said, this live is going to be about Dr. Abdulai Conte. And I'm going to show something and point out something before I even go into the life of Dr. Abdulai Conte. I'm going to definitely point out something to you guys. So welcome everybody, by the way. If you're just joining me, like I said again, this is going to be straight to the point, and we'll take it from there. But like with everything else, there's Google. So what I did was I just pulled up a brief history of the man himself, Dr. Abdulai Conte. So I Oh, awesome, awesome. I know the sound is good now, but like I said, guys, I'm taking this live straight off the top. Excuse the sound issue there. I fixed it. I had my mic muted at some point, but this live is going to be about Dr. Abdulai Conte, guys, with the PR system, everything that has passed in Parliament. But this is what I want to do. Something caught my attention, and I have to bring it out. Whilst I was just, off the top of my head, because the whole PR, the debate itself, when the judiciary used the opportunity to launder their image to the international community, and this is for the international community. I want you guys to see how these guys have joined in, the Supreme Court justices joined in to bastardize the Constitution of Sierra Leone. And what I want to do, and something that I picked out, is the fact that how can the Chief Justice, maybe that is the law in Sierra Leone, but this tells you how corrupt we are. And this is why African democracy and giving Sierra Leone that I'm talking about today is going to be stuck the way it is. And this is why people continue to suffer and we're not making any inroads with everything that we're trying to achieve. Because how can the Chief Justice substitute the Supreme Court's justices, to sit on a matter that is as important as this? It would have to bring in other judges. We have to talk about that. And I'm gonna show you that, and I'm gonna draw contrast and inference. They might tell us, well, the American system is completely different. But I know in America, there's no way you can substitute the justices of the Supreme Court in America. You cannot substitute them for any other judges when it comes to matters of where they're sitting and talking about cases that came in front of the Supreme Court of the United States of America. That is what I want to talk about. But before I do that, I want to thank you, by the way. Thank you, Solis. Before I do that, I want to share with you who is Dr. Abdulai Conte. I want you guys to see this, because it is very crucial. It's very important in this whole fight. The fact that he sacrificed You know, Dr. Abdulai Conte is not a young man anymore. He has done it. He did what he had to do when he was young. He made a name for himself across the world. But today, he sat by and said, you know what? I'm not going to sit by and watch these guys destroy our democracy. I'm not going to watch these guys destroy our constitution, the constitution that I wrote. Dr. Abdulai Conte was one of the founding fathers of the 1991 constitution. It was mandated by President Momo to come up with the 1991 constitution. After we had the one-party state system constitution that Albert Magai brought and Shaka Stevens used very effectively against Albert Magai of the SLPP. Dr. Abdulai Conte was the founding father, one of the people that wrote the constitution again. And guys, I'm going to show you a video of the PR debate itself when he was actually giving a submission, defending a democracy, defending the constitution of Sierra Leone. I'm going to show you that part because, again, remember, the whole PR debate was over 5 hours. So that's going to be something for another day. We're going to break it piece by piece as we go. Not today, but during the course of the weeks and months to come. We're going to be talking about this because this is unprecedented for what happened in Sierra Leone today. But what I want to do is, I don't want us to forget who Dr. Abdulai Conte is. So before much ado, let me show you guys what I'm talking about because I want you guys to see the area that I'm talking about, where the Chief Justice, I want to know from all the legal scholars and all the legal luminaries in Sierra Leone, this is what I want you guys to help me research and find out about. Is this a crime in itself? Is this how the laws of Sierra Leone are? Is this the law of Sierra Leone, where the Chief Justice can decide to say, you know what, a Supreme Court justice is going to be left out to bring in another judge from the appeals court into a matter that was taken in front of the Supreme Court? So the Chief Justice has the prerogative to actually just pick out any judge when we already have existing Supreme Court justices? But before we go there, let me show you guys what I'm talking about with where Dr. Abdulai Conte, made this point. And this is very crucial. And I don't want us to take our minds from it. And this is in the first, 20-something minutes of this. I'm going to let you guys...
In terms of timing, I am going to allow you time to do what is needful. The only thing is that if I've given, say, 1 hour or you take 1 hour, the other person...
Guys, I want you to listen. Listen to this. I don't want you to miss this part. Very important, where Dr. Abdulai Conte is going to point out the fact that the Supreme Court justices that should sit at the table are not there. Very, very important. I want you to pay attention to that.
Or whatever. So, feel free and go into your case.
My Lord, I'm grateful for any guidance and words of wisdom that may fall from your Lordship's lip. May I, before I proceed, make an observation and a humble request, given the nature of the case and the issues to be determined. It had been the plaintiffs and their attorneys' desire that your Lordship would sit on bank with the full complement of the Supreme Court and, if need be, with the Court of Appeal. What I noticed from the paneling, a judge or two from the Court of Appeal has been brought up, and there are substantive Supreme Court judges who have not been empaneled. We would, in the interest of justice and given the importance of the issues, wish that the court sat on bank, a full bench, to hear the case and determine it, given that it is the apex court.
Well, that is...
I mean, no reflection on the present composition, but just in the interest of justice, so you all with your wise heads knock together.
Insofar as paneling of cases are concerned, that is the prerogative of the chief.
Guys, I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to listen. How did this get on my screen, man? This is not what I'm doing today. Okay. I want you all to listen. Dr. Abdulai Conte is pointing out the fact that the actual Supreme Court judges them. Guys, I want to speak this in Creole. For the international community, hang tight, guys. I'm going to come to you. I'm going to speak it in English. But for my brothers and sisters back home in Sierra Leone, let's talk this in Creole. They don't understand. The Supreme Court justice system, the judges there within the Supreme Court, we have them. So in this particular matter, let me show you now. These are the Supreme Court justices them will get in Sierra Leone. These are the Supreme Court justices them will get. So Dr. Abdulai Conte, they point out, say, why you left the Supreme Court justices them where these are appointed Supreme Court judges them, why you left them, you bring 2 members from the appeal court for consider for this matter. Guys, that was where the whole game was rigged. You see, because the Chief Justice did not get the support of most of these other Supreme Court judges them. That was why he decided to go and pick 2 other judges them from the appeals court, when a lower court from the Supreme Court for consider for the matter. So they would have their way. You see, guys, blatant violation of our constitution. I want to point that out to you guys. I just see this. I just saw it. You know, I'm actually studying something now I read, but my mind just say, you know, click on something. And I clicked on this PR again from the opening, you know, deliberations of the whole thing at the Supreme Court. I just noticed this part that Dr. Abdulai Conte brought this up. And I wonder why nobody else has said anything about this. That was a problem from the get-go, because why did the Chief Justice decide for go take other judges them from other courts? Namely, so the appeals court for can put them on this panel for can sit on this matter that was brought in front of the Supreme Court. That is very crucial. That is very important. And I want you guys to listen. Everybody listen.
Chief Justice.
Absolutely.
It is you don't know my judges, I know my judges, and I've chosen. No disrespect for those that have not been chosen. You have to go by it. I am not going against any law. It's the law of the land, and we go by it.
My Lord, I mean no reflection, none in the least, on any judge who's not been empaneled. But we are only saying on behalf of the plaintiff, given the importance of these.
You're all legal jurists or jurists of the law, and it's left with you. If you want to go by the American system where you
No, it's not an American system.
It must be the law.
My Lord, if I may,
Yeah.
in the recent decision of the United Kingdom Supreme Court on an application which I cite in my authorities, the Chief Justice.
And this court sitting at this very moment is a constitutional court, and constitutional provisions have to be applied.
Guys, excuse me, this is not what I want here.
The power may be exercised.
All right, guys, I don't know if my computer is just tripping up and everything, but let me explain this, guys. I want to explain this to you, everybody. So you see, the Chief Justice is telling Dr. Abdulai Conte and everybody say, you know, Sabine judges them. You know, broke no law. That is a crime. Is that not a crime in itself? This is something journalists, civil society organizations, members of parliament, pundits in Sierra Leone, this is something they should be talking about. The Chief Justice decided to go pull judges them from the appeals court, a lower court, to that of the Supreme Court, when we already have justices them in place. And guys, I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. I want you guys to see the judges that will get at the Supreme Court in, Sierra Leone at this particular point in time. I want you guys to see this. Let me move my photo here. But these are the judges of the Supreme Court who will get in Sierra Leone right now. Everybody, let's see this. And this is the website, by the way, this is the website of the judiciary. I'm looking at the website of the judiciary of Sierra Leone. So these are the justices that we have in the Supreme Court. Look at it, guys. I'm not making it up. The Chief Justice Babatunde Edwards is one. Honorable Justice N.C. McBrown. Matter of fact, of the 5 judges that were empaneled, let me call their names first. The ones that sat in this matter with the PR. These are the judges that sat there. Babatunde Edwards, who is the Chief Justice. Honorable Justice N.C. McBrown. Honorable Manga Tarawali, Supreme Court. Honorable Alusain Sise, Justice of the Supreme Court. And Justice Ansumana Ivan Sise. Is already of the appeals court. All right? These are the 5 judges that sat to deliberate on this matter. But let's look at the list of the judges, the Supreme Court justices then in Sierra Leone. Now we have Desmond Babatunde Edwards on the screen, Honorable Justice N.C. McBrown, Honorable Justice Eku E. Roberts, Honorable Justice Vivian Solomon, Honorable Justice Glenna Thompson, Honorable Justice Manga Fanadin, when one of the judges then we sit on the matter, Honorable Justice Alusain Sise, we sit on when is a legal, Supreme Court Justice, Honorable Alan B. Alloway, and Justice Sengu Koroma. So, Honorable Justice Sengu Koroma did not sit this panel. Honorable Justice Alan Alloway not sit on this PR case. Honorable Glenna Thompson not sit on this case. Vivian Solomon not sit on this case. Eku Roberts not sit on this case. So now, we ask ourselves the question, where are these Supreme Court justice system? Was it that the Chief Justice knew, Babatunde Edwards knew that these guys will not be in cahoots with him to pass a law that is unconstitutional, to circumvent the Constitution at this particular point, to actually amend the Constitution? Because the ruling from Chief Justice Babatunde Edwards, it is not only an interpretation of the Constitution, but it's an amendment to our Constitution. Because again, I'm not going to go into the Constitution per se with the whole matter, but this is just a crucial part. Why is it that it is okay when a matter is taken to the Supreme Court? Why should the Chief Justice pick and choose who he's going to have on this panel? Not only pick and choose, but if we have Chief Justices them, when matters of this nature come in front of them, shouldn't all the Chief Justices them sit on this matter? Why if I go take justices them from the other lower courts them, from the appeals court, for can put them in a Supreme Court matter? This is very instrumental. If I was Dr. Abdulai Conte, if I was all these other people, I don't know if I even want to move forward with this particular case at that point in time, because I knew, I don't know, say the system was rigged against us. But again, they went ahead with it anyways. But I saw this and I said, we have to talk about this. And I have to bring this to the attention of the world, bring it to the attention of the international community. Is this how the judiciary works? Again, remember in 1991, what was the main cause of the rebel war? It is the judiciary and the police. And therefore, it is very crucial, it is very important that we point out this particular fact. These are the Supreme Court justices of Sierra Leone that we have. Why is it that these people did not sit on the panel? Why did Chief Justice Babatunde Edwards decided to go and get somebody from the appeals court to bring into this matter? And why is it that we have, when you count the list, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Chief Justices in the Supreme Court? Why would something of this nature? Why don't we have all of these Chief Justices so we can have a ruling where we know that it's a 6-3 or it's a 5-4 or it's a 5-5? Why didn't we have that with this ruling? Because that's how it works. So now I want to show you guys the reason why I'm pointing this out to you. Let me show you the American system. So the Chief Justice is saying the American system and the Sierra Leone system is different. But let's look at the American system. We have 9 justices in America. These are the justices that we have in America. Let me bring this to you guys. Let me get my out of the way here. This is the American system, right? These are the current members of the Supreme Court in America. It's 9 of them. Let us start to count. First is Honorable John G. Roberts, Clarence Thomas. Of course, John G. Roberts is the Chief Justice of America. Just like how Babatunde Edwards is the Chief Justice in Sierra Leone. So Roberts is the Chief Justice in America. Now you have Clarence Thomas, the other Chief Justice, number 2. You have Samuel Alito, number 3. Guys, bear with me. I'm not going to the justice is too much, so I'm just going to call the names. Please forgive me, Your Highnesses, Your Honor, your Lordships. Excuse me, I'm just going to go straight with just calling you by your names for the purposes of, simplicity at this point. Samuel A. Alito, that number 4, actually number 3, and Sonia Sotomayor, winner number 4, Elena Kagan, number 5, Neil Gorsuch, number 6, Brett Kavanaugh, number 7, Amy Coney Barrett, number 8, and Ketanji Brown, who was the most recent Chief Justice that was signed into the Supreme Court, that was appointed into the Supreme Court by President Joe Biden. So we have 9 members of the Supreme Court in America. Just like we have the same similarly in Sierra Leone, we have all of these Chief Justices right here in Sierra Leone. So why is it that the Chief Justice Babatunde Edwards. This is a fundamental question, and this is how the game was rigged against us. So when I saw this, I said I have to point this out. Sierra Leoneans, we have to debate this. Everybody have to take this head on. Let we ask this fundamental question here. So why is this correct? Why is this the law? How is this the law? Where is it in the Constitution? What prerogative, whose kind of rights will the Chief Justice get for take other judges them from the lower courts, the appeals court, to bring them into the Supreme Court? Can he do that? Because again, the Supreme Court, the appointment to the Supreme Court, it is not a childish play. It is not a kids play. You have to be appointed into that court. You have to go through parliamentary approval. It is different when you are appointed as an appeals judge or a magistrate. It is completely different. The Supreme Court, it's like again in Sierra Leone, it's not a lifetime appointment, but in America, it's a lifetime appointment. So this is very crucial. It is very important. We have to understand this, and I would love to engage the legal luminaries in Sierra Leone on this particular matter. And if this is the case, this has to stop, because this PR system has exposed the fraud, the rottenness of the judiciary again to the rest of the world. Because I want the international community to understand, when these judges, the Babatunde Edwards, they had an open inquiry, had an open debate live on television. It makes it seem like these guys are transparent, they are open, but it was because all they're doing is to launder the image, to create a persona to the rest of the world that they are very honest and trustworthy. But what we see today in Sierra Leone, for them to declare that the proportional representation system is to be used when we know that we have extant constituencies at this particular point in time. Our constituencies have a lifespan of 5 to 7 years. The last time we did a boundary delimitation was in 2017. And these constituencies, according to Section 38, subsection 4, makes it very clear that a constituency should be drawn between 5 to 7 years, which means if we had a constituencies drawn in 2017, it means they have a 7-year lifespan. That means 2024 is when these constituencies would expire. But the Chief Justice went ahead and told the world that Parliament, upon the dissolution of Parliament in April this year, that means those constituencies die. It is a lie. Those constituencies live on until 2024. If we don't do a boundary delimitation, that is the only time those constituencies die. But as of now, as it is at this particular moment, those constituencies have a lifespan of 5 to 7 years. 5 years was 2022, November last year. 7 years is November 2024, next year. That is when these constituencies die. And guys, you will prove this, everything that I'm saying to you, because of course the next elections and everything, you will see what I'm saying. But I'm saying to you guys, why did the Chief Justice, instead of having all the 9 Supreme Court justices empaneled to sit and deliberate on this matter, why is it that the Chief Justice only had 4 members of the Supreme Court in Sierra Leone to sit on the panel, to agree to sit on this panel? And he brought 1 judge from the appeals court, a lower court, into the Supreme Court, when we know the Supreme Court's appointment is totally different from that of an appeals court or magistrate court. Guys, these are the things I want to talk about. But again, I want to celebrate Dr. Abdulai Conte. I want you guys to see this. I want you guys to understand this. Who is Dr. Abdulai Conte? Because he's the unsung hero. But I wanted to point out what this Chief Justice did. And I want you guys to see this and understand and know that democracy has been destroyed in Sierra Leone. I want you guys to know again, the judiciary has bastardized our constitution. You guys remembered when the parliament did not accept the PR system. But of course, the same parliament went back December 8th, after the Supreme Court Justice Babatunde Edwards came out on Twitter, the judiciary Twitter page on December 7th, said he has empaneled judges to sit on the PR matter brought in front of them. Then December 8th, the next day, when at that particular point in time, Parliament should not even touch that law again, because when you take the matter to the Supreme Court, it should be left with the Supreme Court at that point. But the Parliament decided on December 8th, a day after the Supreme Court said they've acknowledged receipt of the complaint by Dr. Abdulai Conte and others, Waraseri Kamal and all these people, JFKs. The next day, the Parliament said they've passed the PR into law. But it was used as a statutory instrument, which means it has 21 days for it to become a law. It has to mature within 21 days. However, within that time, Parliament has the prerogative to have a 2/3 majority annul or say, you know what, we support or we condemn this. Even if there is no vote, the members of Parliament should have made the move, especially the opposition, the biggest opposition, the APC, should have made the move to say, you know what, we're not supportive of this PR system. We want a vote. They should have called for a vote because that is what the Constitution makes provisions for. They should call for a vote to get 2/3 majority, which means I think out of 130, 140 something members of parliament, 136, including the chiefs and all that stuff. I don't remember the exact number. You guys will remember that. Research that for me real quick. But with 2/3 would be about 90 something members of parliament to vote for or against for it to become a law. That is the fact. Dr. Abdulai Conte is one of the founders of the Constitution. He wrote the Constitution. This man decided to go and stand and say, you know what, guys, this is wrong. We cannot go against the Constitution. And these guys decided to still go and go against the Constitution. Babatunde Edwards constituted a panel of judges. A panel of, where are the other 5 members of the Supreme Court justices? We have to ask, who are they? Who are these 5 members of the Supreme Court justices that we were not empaneled? Let me find out. Who are these 5? Who are these 5? Look at their names on the screen. Justice Eku Roberts was not on the panel. Justice Vivian Solomon, not on the panel. Justice Glenna Thompson, not on the panel. Justice Sengu Kuruma, not on the panel. Alan B. Alloway, not on the panel. So Sierra Leoneans in a society, how can we get a democracy to move? How can we get a democracy to advance? If this is what we have, the Supreme Court, the biggest court in the land, is being, manipulated like this by the Chief Justice. Is this a crime? Does this constitute a crime? This is a deliberation. This is a discussion that we should all have. Sierra Leoneans, we should ask questions. Again, if you guys have any contact with Dr. Abdulai Conte, these are questions that I need answers to. And what can we do to fix the Constitution if the Constitution makes provision for the Chief Justice to go and bring other judges from other courts that are lower than the Supreme Court to come and sit on matters that has to do with the Supreme Court? Is this right? Is this correct? Should this happen? That is the concern I have. But guys, I want to make this live about Dr. Abdulai Conte. I want to give him the credit that he deserves. This man, at his age, should be sitting down somewhere, relaxed, having fun, traveling the world probably. This man recently, in 2010, came back home from Belize after he served as the Attorney General out there. But let us celebrate Dr. Abdulai Conte. I think that is what I want to do. So let me put up his bio on the screen here. This is Dr. Abdulai Conte. Let's read about him. But before I even show you guys this, let me play a video of Dr. Abdulai Conte back in these days. Let me play this video for you guys. This is Dr. Abdulai Conte.
When the leaders met, they issued the Lagos communique, which sounded warning and underscored the point that all factions should withdraw.
Guys, remember, this is 1981. 1981, 42 years ago. He was the foreign minister of Sierra Leone at the time. And he was talking about the war in Chad. I just want you guys to have a perspective of who this man is.
Withdraw. All the troops should withdraw from all states with troops in Chad should withdraw. Regrettably, that was not heeded. And just at the beginning of the year, we heard that the country had been over-militarized by the Libyan troops and armaments on the invitation of President Gukuni Wadai, and in fact, there was reported a merger between Libya and Chad. Understandably, this gave rise to a considerable amount of consternation, if only because the government itself that is in Chad, in N'Djamena, was by definition transitional and provisional. And therefore, a number of heads of states of Africa doubted the validity of that exercise, if it was true. I was instructed as foreign minister to hold consultations with my colleagues in New Delhi, and Secretary General Valdai, with whom I had discussions in Delhi, to approach the United Nations and to organize the presentation of the Chadian problem within the general international community as represented in the United Nations, to see how best we can muster resources to provide material assistance to Chad in its efforts to overcome the divisions within its body politic.
Guys, I wanted you to see this. 1981. Very crucial, very important. I want you guys to know who is Dr. Abdulai Conte, how pivotal he is, how instrumental he is today in Sierra Leone's politics. It is very important that we pay attention to things like these. We have to celebrate people like Dr. Abdulai Conte in Sierra Leone. You know, the problem why Africa is the way it is because we don't celebrate the people that we should be celebrating. Dr. Abdulai Conte is a living legend amongst us. And every Sierra Leonean ought to know who this man is. This is him in his younger days, 1981. I'm sure it was probably in his 40s, mid-40s, representing Sierra Leone very proudly. You listen to him as he speaks, and he still has that sagacity about him when he still speaks today. You listen to him. Let us listen to this conversation right here. Let's listen to this conversation when he was making his presentation at the Supreme Court.
Namely, where no constituencies have been established.
The law, it's the law of the land, and we go by it.
My Lord, I mean no reflection, none in the least, on any judge who's not been empaneled. But we are only saying on behalf of the plaintiff, given the importance of these.
You're all legal jurists or jurists of the law, and it's left with you. If you want to go by the American system where you
No, it's not an American system.
It must be the law.
My Lord, if I may,
Yeah.
in the recent decision of the United Kingdom Supreme Court on an application which I cite in my authorities, the Chief Justice empaneled in the Supreme Court not less than 11 judges because of the importance. This was a challenge to the exercise of the prerogative to prorogue Parliament. And Ms. Miller brought a constitutional challenge.
Right.
And the judge, or the Chief Justice in the UK, properly felt.
Dr. Abdulai Conteh, out of respect to you, in your age, and in fact, I was a pupil in your class, law of evidence, I've allowed you, but let us go within the law and let us proceed.
My Lord, I have no doubt it is your prerogative to empanel a court, but that prerogative must be informed by the interests of justice. That's all I say. I move on. May I?
Guys, you see the criminality there? You see Dr. Abdulai Conte, living legend, telling his student, this Babatunde Edwards sat in his class, law of evidence. He sat in Dr. Abdulai Conte's class. He's a failure to this man because that is not what he taught him. Not only he be teacher. You know, Dr. Abdulai Conte is giving an example that at Supreme Court case in London, they empaneled at least 11 Supreme Court justices. I want the international community to pay attention. Ambassador David Reimer, Miss Lisa Chesney, Mr. Emmanuel Mula, all of these organizations, all of the international partners, the State Department, White House. I want all of you guys to pay attention to what is happening in Sierra Leone. We have 9 Supreme Court justices. This was a matter of constitutional crisis that was brought in front of the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone. The Chief Justice, out of 9, only selected 4 members of the Supreme Court. And he brought a judge from a lower court, the appeals court, to make it 5. I want you guys to see this. That in itself is a constitutional breach. And Dr. Abdulai Conte is pointing out that fact. Sierra Leoneans, what is wrong with us? When would Sierra Leone advance? When would a democracy mature? When the people that are tasked with the responsibility of moving a country forward are flagrantly and blatantly violating a constitution, bastardizing a constitution this way, twisting the laws like a pretzel to make it suit their desired objective. Why, Sierra Leone, why? Dr. Abdulai Conte is pointing out the fact that this whole thing should be based on justice. The Chief Justice knew it was wrong. He knew it was wrong for this. And this is something we're not talking about. And we've not talked about it enough. But like I said, this Supreme Court case, this PR, is going to be for a generation, a lifetime. I'm going to spend, even if it takes me the next 20 years, bit by bit, going through this matter until we break it completely. Because it's a 5-hour deliberation. Until we get to the ruling someday, we're going to take it bit by bit because kids and children growing up should know about this ruling. and should note that this Chief Justice, out of 9 Supreme Court justices, only empaneled 4 members from the Supreme Court, eliminated 5 others that were not going to dance with his tune, eliminated 5 other Supreme Court justices that were not willing to participate in a treasonous act of this nature, to give us a PR system that is absolutely unconstitutional. The founding father of the Constitution, Dr. Abdulai Conte, in front of you here, defended the Constitution. And these Chief Justices saw that and said, you know what? I'm still going to go ahead and do what I want to do anyways. Give President Bio what he wishes for. Give President Bio what he's asking for. This is a bidding from the Supreme Court Justice to take away the power from the people and give it to President Bio for whatever reason. I'm not even going to go into the benefits, the advantages, the disadvantages of proportional representation system. That is not what I'm talking about. This is about Dr. Abdulai Conte, a living legend of our times today in Sierra Leone, displaying prowess and legal sagacity with this matter to show this boy that you are still my pupil. You are still my student. That is what he's showing here. Sierra Leoneans, we should extol this man. We should praise Dr. Abdulai Conte. You know, we don't celebrate the good people amongst us in our society. We don't talk about these people enough. And this man deserves to be in the mouth and homes and ears of every Sierra Leonean. He should be talked about everywhere because he's one of many that is still alive today. A brilliant mind that is still alive today. Standing, fighting with the people to protect a constitution. Standing by the people to protect a democracy. Because what this man sees is a democracy that is backsliding. And he says, no, even though I'm old, in my older age, in my older days, I don't want to get involved in this. Dr. Abdulai Conte does not have to do this anymore. He's not getting paid for it. He doesn't want nobody's money. He's doing it to save the soul of democracy. And if the international community does not see this, and if we allow this to go through and pass, because in the name of it's from the Supreme Court, guys, we're doomed. Sierra Leone is not going anywhere. This is a shame. This is a disgrace. As a Sierra Leonean, I'm not proud of this moment in our history. But Dr. Abdulai Conte made his point very clear. Let's listen to him a little bit.
May it please the court. This application before your lordships this morning is by way of notice of originating motion, filed on behalf of the 2 plaintiffs in the matter, seeking the following reliefs. 1, a declaration that on a proper and purposive interpretation of Section 38A of the Constitution as amended by Act number 15 of 2001, the controlling provisions stated in subsection 1 of that amendment, namely, and I quote, but no constituencies have been established, are, in our respectful view, conditions precedent to warrant or justify the holding of any general election, particularly for the ordinary members of parliament, by the district block system referred to as proportional representation. Therefore, any directive by the President to the Electoral Commission to hold any public elections for ordinary members of Parliament.
What is in the motion paper, you've given us the first relief prayed for, but the second, I note that you just went therefore, and I have here as number 2. So are you changing that?
I'm just dealing with the application and the relief being sought by the plaintiff.
You have number 2.
Number two, a declaration by this Honorable Court that the Fifth Parliament of Sierra Leone, as presently constituted, is itself elected on a constituency basis as provided for in Section 3, Section 38, subsection 1 of the Constitution. These constituencies are still extant and subsisting.
Absolutely.
That's a relief the plaintiffs are seeking from your lordships. The third relief they seek is that a further declaration that revision of constituencies as provided for in subsection 4 of section 38 does not in and of itself necessarily result in the establishment or dissolution of constituencies stipulated in sections 38 subsections 1 and 2, but rather the section provides for the period when existing constituencies should be revised or reviewed, which review or revision may or may not necessarily result in a delimitation of the respective boundaries of the existing constituencies.
Absolutely.
When you hold a review, you don't disestablish a constituency.
Absolutely.
Fourth,
that is a very crucial point there. Just because you have to do a boundary review, a boundary delimitation, does not mean that the constituencies that exist cease to exist. You understand, eh? Just because you get to do a boundary delimitation, not mean say the constituency that we already don't die, mean say they die immediately. No, you get 2 years for go ahead and do a boundary delimitation. It's a 2-year process. But within those 2 years, the boundaries them that already exist, they're still there, they're good to go, they are extant, they are subsisting. That is what Dr. Abdulai Conte is saying, Ayaso Salon people. This was it. It is in the Constitution, Section 38, subsection 4, all the way, Section 38A, subsection 1. It is all clear in the Constitution. That was what Dr. Abdulai Conte was saying. But guys, like I said, I'm not even going to go into this now. The PR system has been passed. That is going to be what we're going to use for our electioneering process. So be it, that's fine. But I want to point out to you guys that, you know, we have a living legend amongst us, and that is Dr. Abdulai Conte. And that is the man that we should celebrate. That is the man that we should celebrate for his selfless service to the nation.
A declaration
for
by
standing
this
by us
honorable court
at a time like this.
That will hold
It
the
is very crucial.
2023 elections.
It is very important that we recognize the presence of Dr. Abdulai Conte at a time like this. It is very crucial. And that is why I want to show you who this man is. That is why I'm looking through his profile here. I'm going to show you again. Let us all read this together. I want you guys to see who is this man. Let us read his life career, his life together. Let us read about him together. Let me put it here. We don't do enough of this in Sierra Leone. We don't at all. And that is very unfair. We don't do it. So let's do this today. This is Dr. Abdulai Conte. Dr. Abdulai Usman Conte, born August 5th, Abdulai Usman Conte, born 5 August 1945, is a lawyer and politician from Sierra Leone. He is a former vice president of Sierra Leone who served under President Joseph Saidu Momo before he was ousted by the military junta in 1992. Conte later spent a considerable number of years in Belize, where he served as the country's Chief Justice before returning to Sierra Leone. Imagine all Sierra Leoneans. Dr. Abdulai Conte was not born in Belize, but he was appointed as the Chief Justice in Belize. Belize, one of these island states. You know, Belize, it was appointed Chief Justice because of his brilliance. Now, let's read early education, early life and education. Dr. Conte was born on 5th August 1945 in the village of Rogbere, Binle, Dixon Chiefdom in Cambia District, British Sierra Leone at the time. He is from Sierra Leone's Soso ethnic group, which is predominantly based in the northern part of the country, especially Cambia. Conte was raised mostly in Freetown. He attended Albert Academy and later Furabe College before traveling to the UK for further studies. Dr. Conte has the following educational qualifications: PhD in International Law, 1974, King's College, Cambridge. LLB Honors, 1971, King's College, Cambridge. And 1971, London University. 1969, King's College, London, Barrister at Law. 1969 was when he had his first law degree, 1969. It was called to the Bar of England and Wales. 1970 at Lincoln's Inn, London. Worked for London, United Kingdom. Harold Potter Prize Man in Land Law. He won a prize, Harold Potter Prize Man in Land Law, 1968. He returned home in the early 1970s and worked for the Sierra Leone Law Officers Department. Dr. Conte later went into private practice and taught law at Furabe College for several years. He teach this Babatunde was one of the Chief Justice, so he violates the Constitution. He teach in a class. Now, political career in Sierra Leone. Let's talk about that. Dr. Conte was a member of the All People's Congress, APC party. His public service in Sierra Leone has included holding the offices of Minister of Foreign Affairs, 1977 to 1984, Minister of Finance, 1984 to 1985, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, 1987 to 1991, and First Vice President and Minister of Rural Development, 1991 to 1992, before Mara Building came and overthrew the APC government. He served as a member of parliament from Cambia District, his paternal home. That is where his father is from, paternal, right? Paternal na yudadisai, maternal na yumamasai. Paternal home district from 1977 to 1992. In late 2007, Conte was nominated as a candidate to become chairperson of the African Union Commission in early 2008. But it was not successful with Jean Ping of Gabon being elected. Now, Chief Justice of Belize, 2000 to 2010. In January 2000, Conte became the Chief Justice of the Belize Supreme Court. In 2007 and 2010, Conte authored 2 decisions affirming the common law doctrine of aboriginal title and the existence of Maya customary land tenure in the Toledo district of Belize. Only the villages of Conego and Santa Cruz were parties to the 2008 ruling. However, the 2010 ruling was the result of a representative action on behalf of all the Maya communities. The ruling voided all government leases, concessions, grants, and contracts adverse to the Maya tenure. The landmark victory is predicted to have the far-reaching implications for logging, mining, and petroleum concessions in what the Maya community claims is over 500,000 acres of ancestral homeland. The government appealed the decision to the Caribbean Court of Justice, where on the eve of the hearing, it considered all of Justice Conteh's original holdings. That is the Supreme Court of the Caribbean Court, all waiting Dr. Abdulai Conteh fight for these Maya people for the land. They hold the rulings to stand. The Chief Justice later awarded the Maya damages for violation of their constitutional right to have their property legally protected. Conte turned 65 on 5th August 2010, forcing him to retire since his contract was not renewed by Prime Minister Dean Barrow. Barrow's decision not to offer Conte renewal was condemned by the Belize Bar Association in a resolution criticizing the unseemly manner in which the tenure of the Chief Justice has been treated by the government of Belize. His retirement became a national political issue because the Chief Justice is popular with the masses of the Belizean people. Una see? And is regarded by many as fear-minded and fearless. Several of his landmark rulings, particularly on constitutional issues, are considered anti-government and anti-establishment, and many were made even under the former Musa administration. Guys, this is Dr. Abdulai Conte for you. This is Dr. Abdulai Conte for you, guys. So this is the living legend, and this is why we have to celebrate this man. For me, we're past the PR now. The Supreme Court Justice violated our constitution for all I know. This man did not empanel judges that were supposed to sit on the matter. We have 9 Supreme Court justices in Sierra Leone. These are people appointed by the state. In a matter of this stature, as serious as this matter is, there is no reason why these people, the Supreme Court justices, should not have sat for this matter also. There is no reason why they not for sit on for this matter. There is no reason why we not forget a ruling where they tell we say it's a 6-3 ruling. In America, when you look at the rulings of the Supreme Court, they go tell you say it was a 6-3, which means 6 justices them that they support this case, 3 no support. 5-4. Now 5 support, 4 no support. So the majority carries the vote. But how do we even know? So the Chief Justice only IMAC in your people them. These Chief Justices, 4 of the Supreme Court, 1 from the Appeals Court. So these are the guys that worked in cahoots. They will tell you, say, well, Ibrahim de Fitiai we now. We are judges, we are the Supreme Court judges, we are very powerful people. They go against what we say. Guys, it is a responsibility as citizens to question these things. Don't sit by and watch this. Everybody, journalists in Sierra Leone, radio stations, TV stations, they should be talking about something like this. We have to fix our constitution. If our constitution makes provision for the Chief Justice to be manipulating the judges in the Supreme Court when it comes to cases, he can pick and choose who he wants to sit on that panel. We have a problem, Sierra Leone. We're not ready to move forward yet. Sierra Leone is not ready to move forward. And this is a travesty. It's a shame. It's a disgrace. It's pathetic. And that is what I wanted to talk to you guys about. And that is why I said I'm going to do this live. I wanted to celebrate Dr. Abdulai Conte, a living legend in our time. A living legend in our times. This man not can do what he do so. But he can't stand. He say, this constitution was, I wrote this constitution. Ebo, the man will write the constitution. When they defy the man will write the constitution. No respect for this man. No decency from this Chief Justice. Just the respect for saying, this is the man who wrote the constitution. If he's going to come here and challenge this constitution. Let me talk about the constitution for a minute. So for you guys, because I've talked about this a lot, for you guys that are watching me live, you know exactly where we stand with this. The constitution is very clear. I don't even have to look at the constitution, guys, anymore. Section 38. Matter of fact, let me give you guys a brief history of the PR system in Sierra Leone. Why was it even used? I know a lot of you, if I ask you to tell me, you'll be able to tell me right now. But why was the PR system used in 1996? It was because we had a rebel war. Certain areas of the country was not accessible. That was why we used the PR system, because we were not able to access our people in these communities. So the PR system was only a fix for the moment. And again, myself, Cashbox and Communicator, we talked about this morning, where in 1996, of course, when Marabio overthrew President Joseph Saidu Momo, they ruled by decree, which means we don't have a constitution. So the military ruled by decree. Up until the 1996 elections, we were under a decree. But we used the 1991 constitution at play in a way, because that was how we at least even think about having elections. But we were under a military decree at the time. But because we did not have access to these communities, to these areas, the rebels were fighting there. We say, okay, also we get access, we could do a PR system so the people at least go for votes and get their voice. It was only used at that particular point in time because of the inconveniency. Now, I'm making 2001, after the 1996 and 2002 elections, then 2001, actually, they went back and amended the constitution to make provision now. So, you know what? In 1996, when we had the first elections, okay, let's assume we were under decree. So we were not able to use our constitution, and because the rebels were in certain parts of the country, we were not able to access those parts of the country, but we were not supposed to use the PR system, but we used it. It was not a fault. It was not a fault of their own, because again, it was the condition that we found ourselves in. We had no choice, but we had to have an election because we were fed up. We wanted NPRC to go. So the people of Sierra Leone said, we want elections. Marabio said we want peace before elections. The people said we want elections. Peace can come later. You guys remember all of these things. So we used the PR system only at the time for that. Because again, what is one of the major disadvantages of the PR system? It is the fact that you take away the power from the people to elect their representatives. And Sierra Leone's democracy, as fragile as it is, as immature as it is, we try to get it to be matured. 60 years later, we're still crawling. Tetide will not work with our democracy. We want the people to be able to ask questions to their representatives so that members of parliament will be held accountable. Look at these members of parliament today. You ask them, and they vex. They say, look, Kande Yunkela, I don't talk about Kande Yunkela. I'm not ready for that in your life yet. With people and they ask and question, but what you go do this president? The president will kill people, shoot some McKinney, kill Yanda, remove members of parliament, impose a speaking member of speaker of parliament. This president will don't destroy the economy. This president will kill people and will stand up for protest for their rights. You say they run for go work for this president now. This same kind of Yumkel, all of these people, you see what we're saying. So the PR system was only used then. So we go get the people at least get rid of the NPRC. That was the whole thing. Get rid of the NPRC. They had to go. They had to go. So after the amendments of the Constitution in 2001, we've been using the constituency-based election, or what you call first past the post, or the majoritarian system, where who gets the most votes wins. We've been using that now since 2000. It's local council elections was there, and then 2004 local council elections, 2007 elections, 2012 elections. We use them. 2018 election. We've been using a constituency-based elections so that the people in the communities pick their representatives, because we want to have accountability. That was the baseline for why we had the PR, the constituency-based elections. So the PR was something that you go left like how African Express would rather define them. Would you leave the road that is tar, the road that is paved, properly paved? Would you leave that road and go to use a gravel road where your tires are likely to be distorted? You might lose your tires. Would you leave the paved road for a bad road? Why would we leave the constituency-based elections that we have that is working? The people understand the process more. This government has done nothing to educate the people about the PR system. There has been no sensitization. The PR system is a negative, mode of elections. But again, I mentioned also to you guys, it is not only about how we get to pick our presidents, our members of parliament. It does not matter whose kind of electioneering process we use. What really matters is if the people that should vote cannot vote. Now you're talking about 250,000 people's names that have been deleted from the voter register. To this day, we don't know what is happening. Parliament is not asking these questions. But I'm going to tell you, saying they beat parliament, the parliament don't die. Foolishness in our country. They say, this parliament, this government, if you do anything, then go kill the parliamentarian and then go beat the parliamentarian. Donald Trump, if the people that were supposed to stand up did not stand against Donald Trump in America, Donald Trump will still be president today. So these guys are actually telling me they're going to sit there and allow and watch Marabio to steal the elections from them physically and sit by and inaugurate himself as the president because everybody's afraid. Everybody's scared. Salon people, this was the reason why we use the PR system, because we were not able to access certain areas in the country. So once after 2004, all the way through, all our elections have been based on constituencies. Our constituencies have a lifespan of 5 to 7 years. These constituencies that we are using right now are good till 2024. There is no way anybody can tell me, including Babatunde Edwards, that the constituencies that we have now do not expire until 2024. There is no way, guys. There is no way on earth they can deny this fact. But I want these guys to remember, Babatunde Edwards, we have the records, we have the receipts to show. We will not forget these things. Justice will be served someday. This president being in power today, they came with the NPRC. Why? Because they said the judiciary, the police, were not to be trusted anymore. They said suppression, oppression, corruption. And it's the same thing that is happening today. But that is why I want to celebrate Dr. Abdulai Conte. He's the living legend of our time. It took his time to stand up and fight for the people. It took his time to say, you know what? I wrote this constitution. I'm not going to sit by. As tired as I am now, I'm an old man. I don't have to get myself involved in this anymore. But he said, no, I'm going to put on my gown again. I'm going to put on my barrister suit. I'm going to stand out there and stand for future generations yet unborn, to stand for kids that are yet unborn, to stand to protect our democracy. Dr. Abdulai Conte stood with us. And for that, we should all remember him, Sierra Leoneans. We should all remember this man. This is what true patriotism sounds like. This is the real definition of patriotism. When the section of the Constitution states that every citizen shall cultivate a sense of nationalism and patriotism, this is what it means. Where loyalty should lie to the state, not to your section, ethnic, tribal, regional, or any other loyalty. Dr. Abdulai Conte has stood the test of times. And for anybody and for anything, it remains to be my role model. And it should remain to be your role model. It should remain to be Sierra Leone's role model. Every Sierra Leonean should be proud of this man today for what he has done to save democracy. When it's all said and done, his name is going to go down in the books of history to say that he was one of the living legends who stood up at a time when his country needed him. This man is not an elected member of parliament, but he has done more than any member of parliament that was elected by the people. This man is not a minister. This man is not on government payroll. But Dr. Abdulai Conte took it upon himself to represent and stand for the people today, to protect democracy in Sierra Leone. He's a living legend of our time. And I want every Sierra Leonean to know who's Dr. Abdulai Conte. You should never forget this name. You should write this at time. He has served our country diligently. He has made the name of Sierra Leone fly high across the world. When you say Sierra Leone, you say Dr. Abdulai Conte. That is what I want you guys to remember. That is what I want you guys to remember about him. This is Dr. Abdulai Conte for you guys. It stood the test of time. In 2023, when Sierra Leone needed him. In 2023, when the books will be written and said the Chief Justice Babatunde Edwards and 4 other judges violated the Constitution of Sierra Leone, bastardized the Constitution of Sierra Leone, we can proudly say Dr. Abdulai Conte was there to stand up and protect democracy. So with that, guys, I want to leave this live here, but I'm going to show you the response of Dr. Abdulai Conte at the Supreme Court when the Chief Justice announced the ruling. I want to show it to you. I'm going to show that to you here, guys.
Commend the court with respect, if you'll allow me, to say we hope in the future administration of that is full of promise. Here.
Yes.
All right. Let's listen, guys. Listen.
Yes.
Do I have the Lordship's ear?
Yes.
May I, on behalf of my client, say we note and take under advisement the 53 odd pages that your Lordship has read out this morning. A judgment that is full of promise and pregnant with possibilities. We will accordingly advise them. May I, before I take my seat, commend the court with respect, if you'll allow me, to say we hope in the future administration of justice in this country the same alacrity that has been displayed by no less than the Supreme Court in listing the case, hearing it, and determining it within 18 days of the conclusions of the arguments and submissions be attended with and paid to future cases in court to ensure the peace, liberty, and tranquility of our republic. Thank you.
Guys, that is beautiful. He used the word alacrity. It means the way and manner in which the Supreme Court Justice Babatunde Edwards was excited to, within 18 days, pass a ruling on this PR matter should be the same way they act on other cases. So you talk about the Camarimbas, you talk about the LJ case them, you talk about the APC cases them that have been filed in this Supreme Court that have not been brought forth. That is what he's talking about. So alacrity means excitement. The way where you gladdy for jump. That's what he was talking about there. But you know, guys, this is the living legend, Dr. Abdulai Conte. This is the man that we should all celebrate. And I want you guys to look at him again. Get a photo of him. And I'm going to make sure I cut the sections. Share with the rest of Sierra Leoneans that we have to celebrate this man. Dr. Abdulai Conte deserves to be, in banners across Sierra Leone, in a serious society. But we can't we're not serious. We get leaders that are not serious. They don't respect leaders. They don't respect elders. We have no decency in ourselves. All we know with these guys is just continuous, for fitiai with people, legal minds and scholars that have stood up. And this is the problem of the APC party, but I'm going to reach there. I get to address this, but let's wait after election, all of these things. People like Dr. Abdulai Conte should be celebrated across Sierra Leone. It should be celebrated. But let me do this. I want to show you guys this. This is, of course, the report from BBC and Umaru Fofana. Let's listen to this together, guys.
Sitting by the Supreme Court, functioning as the country's constitutional court, was carried live on radio and television, which is a rarity here. Lawyers for the plaintiffs had argued that even though the PR system was provided for in the Constitution, the prevailing circumstances did not allow for it. Among other things, they said the country had existing constituency and ward boundaries, so no need to lump them together into a district block PR system. The 5-member panel of judges unanimously agreed with the state lawyers that with the midterm census of 2021, those boundaries needed to be redrawn to be consistent with the country's new population. That, they say, cannot be done with elections only 5 months away. The lead lawyer for the plaintiffs, Dr. Abdulai Conte, one of the framers of the country's constitution, gave me his reaction to the ruling.
My off-the-cuff reaction is that it's a sad day for the rule of law in this country, when the issues the plaintiff sought to have vindicated in court were so clear, and I hope ably presented before the court, but they thought otherwise. That's their prerogative and discretion. I only wish there was another court to have recourse to. It was not vindicated by the 53 odd pages that His Lordship the Chief Justice read out this morning.
While Dr. Conte was peeved by the ruling.
Guys, with that, I want to thank you all for joining me. I'm going to leave this live here. Let us shall share, guys. Please, by the way, share the live. A lot of people can benefit from this. But if you don't take anything from this live, this is what I want you to take away. Listen carefully before you go. Let me show you guys one more time.
The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Lamin Tarawali, was chuffed by it.
Yeah, but I have a positive reaction to it because
where are you here?
It's been a long day.
All right. Let me show you guys this. I want to show you guys this. These are the Supreme Court justices we have in Sierra Leone. 9 of them. The Chief Justice of Sierra Leone only picked 4 of these Supreme Court justices, and then he brought 1 appeal court judge and sat them in that panel and came up with the ruling. That is what I want you guys to remember. In America, this is what the Supreme Court looks like. We don't substitute the Supreme Court justice system with other judges them from any other court. The Supreme Court justices are the Supreme Court justices. When they get a matter in front of them, all 9 of these court justices sit on that matter. These are the Supreme Court justices of America. All 9 of them would sit on that matter. That not the same thing way before happened with the PR case that was brought in front of the judiciary of Sierra Leone. The Chief Justice should have empaneled all of these judges, giving the gravity of the matter at hand. With that, I'm going to leave you guys here. Have a wonderful one. Love you guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking care of your time. And stay blessed, everybody. All right? I'm gonna let the live end. I'm gonna play a video for you guys, and when the video ends, the live ends, and we'll leave it from there. But thank you again, everybody. Have a beautiful moment, okay? Share, 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 share. That's the key. That's how you get other people to learn this stuff, and we'll take it from there. Less than 55 days or 54 days for Marabio. Actively governing. He's still the president, though, until the elections. But we're only saying 55 because those are the only days where he gets until April when Parliament, dissolve and all of that. They kind of campaign mode no more now. Campaign. That's all we get for you. Lies upon lies upon lies. Lunge Bridge, terminal, extension of terminal, airports now, new one, no new one. Those are all the things you get for the year. You don't get for the year anything more. Again, not forget, go through my YouTube channel as well, guys, because I have a lot of information there for you guys. With this airport, we don't do a video about that, so we don't even have to not only scratch we hear about the airports. These guys spent 270-something million for extended terminal loan, for get a new airport for a little over $300 million, for give a brand new airport, brand new city, brand new opportunities, expand and, just decentralize our system altogether. But these crooked guys spent over 270 million and then sell we airport. Give Turkish people and they control we airport for without Turkish people and they control we airport. We terminal them, government WAF terminal, Lunge terminal, all sites are green and then they control all over. We sit down with the watch, Sierra Leoneans. But these are the things we have to talk about. And I wish I had time every day to do a live. Every day I wish I had that time, but I don't. Because these are a lot of things that we should be talking about seriously and not jokingly. Serious issues affecting our country. But June 24, 2023 is going to give us an opportunity for a new leader, a new president. And hopefully it's Dr. Samura Kamara. I've always said what I've said. I'm not even mincing my words when I say I'm supporting Dr. Samura Kamara because I believe in this man. He has been in the leadership reins for a very long time. The only difference is he has never had an opportunity to lead from the front and be the president and make decisions for Sierra Leone. And I think it will make a difference. But again, if he fails me, I'll be back here to tell you guys that he has failed us again. These are the things, and we're gonna keep searching until we find that leader. We're gonna keep searching. 2028 is around the corner, guys. We're gonna keep searching. Make no mistake about that. But Sierra Leone is gonna be a better country. Sierra Leoneans deserve better. That is my firm belief, and that is what I believe in, and that is why I do these lives. I'm not doing this for fun, I'm not doing this for a show. I'm doing this because I know my country deserves a better way of doing things. Our people are suffering. Life is miserable for our citizens. This is wrong. It should not happen. And instead of these guys focus their energy to make sure that he empowers our people. Look at our sisters. By the way, let me show you guys. There's this YouTube page I want all of you guys to go and find. Cry from the Slum. Let me show you guys this. This guy is doing a phenomenal work. Cry from the Slum. I want you guys to see that channel. It is a very beautiful channel. Let me show you guys this. He's doing a very good job. I want you guys to make time, see what he's doing. These are the women that are actually suffering. Then they suffer not to come on, guys. This is the YouTube channel. I want you guys to try to see if you can follow this guy on YouTube. Cry from the Slums organization. It is doing a fantastic job. And if you guys don't watch anything, I want you guys to watch this. There is this one video right here. Man, when I watched this video, I was touched. I want you guys to see this. I've watched this one. Let me get my stuff out of the way. You see this one with this young girl, this one? I want you guys to watch this. If you watch this, man, you'll be disappointed. Watch this. Watch this.
I know that nobody will take care of me. Let me come like this.
Guys, take your time. I want you to peruse this page. But again, for you guys that are, just in case you don't know, for you guys that are watching me on YouTube, thank you, by the way. But this is my YouTube channel, and I want you all to see it right here. I want you guys to see it. So if you, because sometimes there's certain things I post on YouTube that is not on Facebook. But this is my YouTube page right here, as you can see, People's Liberation Academy. Go follow that page as well. All my Facebook followers, at some point, follow my YouTube channel as well. There's a lot of stuff there that you can learn from. But I want you guys to follow Cry from the Slum. It's powerful, man. The reason why I mentioned that is because instead of these guys focusing their energy to improve and increase the human capital development that Marabio keeps talking about. Anyways, guys, I'll leave it here. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Thank you, everybody. Share. And I'll join you guys again. We'll take it from there. Let me look at the comments real quick. Awa say you also stood up and made a lot of sacrifices. Thank you, Awa. This is why we're going to elect you when you decide to contest. Thank you, Awa. Let me see. Patrick Smith, what is happening with the case you took to the ICC against Marabio? All right, when I wait no more, the case they come. You guys are joking. Anyways, Jackie Kabia. Let's see. It is about Sierra Leone moving forward. Diaspora network there. Okay. Thanks very much. Good work, Kamara. Thank you. This guy is telling me, say, why do you keep beating on the dead horse? Let's call it spade a spade. If APC was in governance in a similar situation, the result would have been the same. Okay, maybe he has a point. But Brima, I'm not beating the dead horse, my brother. We have a mission as Sierra Leoneans to make sure we speak up. You know, this comparison, if the APC, if not the SLPP, this is the very problem that we have today because the APC was voted out because of these foolishness. That was why the APC was voted out. And I don't know what contributions you made, Brima, to ensure that the APC was kicked out. But at the end of the day, you know, you guys are still comparing what the APC was doing, the SLPP would do, this and that, and all that nonsense. But anyways, come to Freetown and do something, not just sit here and be talking. Joe Bendo. All right, Joe, I hear you. At the cap, where I reach Freetown, when I go no, when I wait no more, God will always bless him and his family. Thank you, Ibrahim, for you educated those SLPP fools, Kao Kabara. But anyways, yeah, guys, there's a lot of comments here. Let's see, no sound. He was telling me about no sound. Watching from Cyprus. Barry Mamadou, watching from Cyprus. Welcome, my brother. Thank you, Barry. Watching from Freetown, Sierra Leone, right in my security guard post. Okay, my brother, Solis Sal. Good job, man. I wish you all the best, my brother, Solis. Okay. Let's see. But others sat with them. A big waiting happen with the one them with them list from them official website. I don't know, Jackie T. That is the question we have to ask and find out why is it that the 5 other Supreme Court justices are not impaneled. You know, so that is very important for us. Ask that question. Thanks for letting the public understand all this. Thank you, Abdul Rahman Sise. Thank you. And Adama Kamara. Thank you, though. It's not easy. God bless you for your sacrifice and time. You're welcome, Adama. Thank you. Adama Kamara says Dr. Abdulai Conteh knows his right. Yes. And Peter Sise say, how can we trust the Supreme Court when they can't interpret simple English from our constitution? Thank you, my brother. Mohammed Selu Jakiti, Jennifer Sise, please join us here. Okay. Marabio, sick mentally, trust too much short self, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Thank you, my brother, for educating the masses. Okay. The judiciary don't completely mess up now with Conte. Thank you, guys. But guys, you know, I'm gonna leave it here, guys. Let me see. Let me give you guys. Let me find. Let me see if I have. What's his name here? What's my brother's name? Raga Spice. I'll give you guys Raga Spice, guys, for close the evening. Okay. Love you. Bye bye.
Oh yo, Raga Spice. Oh yo. Question and answer. See me through, yeah. They say them walk alright. They say them thief money. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. They say them go build the bridge. The part they fly boku. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. They say corruption go down. You not then corrupt. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Them be say youth them go smile. Look where youth them they cry. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. May I tell them the story. Story. We make Salomon. Hey, They know they work now the country ben. Tribalism don't put we go behind. They know they work then they talk say they spend. Them go come we go run after them. For we country money, and it's how we them go one by one we go friend them. For we country money, and it's how we them go one by one we go friend them. Country banana the country it dry, country tanga it at so smile. Then they put whip and cry. See right now we walk They say them walk alike. They say them thief money. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Then say them go build the bridge. The part they fly boku. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Then say corruption go down. You not then corrupt. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Then be say youth them go smile. Look where youth them they cry. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. I pay the people and don't tire with the system. Tire with the way then they lie. Where they want make them host and them married with salo money then they use buy. Where they want buy their speedboats and them salo money then they use buy. Where they tell them the truth and they vex. Now radio and TV they deny. Una want them move for the bambai. Una want them move for the bambai. We tired with the rotten system. Tired with the way them they walk. We don't tire. Tired with them cool lie. Tired with the way them they walk. We don't tire. What I know they in the country. We don't tire. Every time they give fire. We don't tire. We better them empty. We don't tire. What now they in the country. We don't tire. They say them walk alike. They say them thief money. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Then say them go build the bridge. The part they fly boku. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Then say corruption go down. You not then corrupt. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Then be say youth them go smile. Look where youth them they cry. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Now then they shoot, then they loot, then they take, then all they put. We journalists, them sit on them youth. Like a spice of it, tell them the truth. How long pan this? How long pan that? How long for the thief with money and go? You know me say because of we born pampo, that means say we for die pampo. We economy is slow, country no they grow. Oh no, Ebola lalio. And then they give we the like the cutting. And it's how they go. We stronger than the country. We better than empty. What not in the country? How we go survive? They say them walk alike. They say them thief money. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Then say them go build the bridge. The part they fly boku. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Then say corruption go down. You not then corrupt. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Then be say youth them go smile. Look where youth them they cry. All the promises where them make go, one day not fulfill. Put on them. And it's how we go with the put on. And it's how we go with the put on. I for with the put on. I for with the put on. Then say the word way I talk. Pardon vex, the mommy don't tense. They say money not there, not the bank. Then don't take 10 out, then don't make friends. Now the audit report make we no say the white paper, now all nonsense. Then say na the party rule, Bokuman say na the mommy. Then say na the party rule, Bokuman say na the mommy. When me tell them the true raga man, them say me aye. When me tell them the true raga man, them say me aye. I saw then they go tell the pop in a room say we dey suffer. Mama Salome cry. We dey suffer. Any where you go. We dey suffer. No justice for the poor. We dey suffer. We dey make for you party. We dey suffer. You know they make for you country. We dey suffer. Let them go. We dey suffer. We don't tire for you so we dey suffer. Yo. Price control not there. Everything just steady. Transportation the money. Boom. I saw the thing set.